All right, hello, Honors English 1 students. This is Mr. Fraga, and I am here recording for you the first of what will be multiple daily objective videos for the time period that we're on distance learning or home instruction when we're away from school. So you can see me down in the corner of your screen here. I'm going to just give you every day a little bit of my expectations and a little bit of context for what I hope for you to work on for the day and what I expect from you for the day. So each day you will have a daily objective, just like as if we were in class and I was standing at the whiteboard telling you this is what I expect you to work on today. So this is for Monday, March 16th, and these are the objectives and these are the activities that I would expect for you to work on or complete on Monday. So as far as our objectives, things you should be able to do, students should be able to, as always, whenever we do a journal write, respond to big ideas in writing. And because it's a vocab day, you should be able to use vocab terms in sentence form. So as far as your specific activities, we're going to do a journal write as we would normally do when we have vocab. Rather than have you do the journal write in your ongoing journal document that you created, for the next couple weeks while we are on distance learning instruction, I'll have you guys do the journal write just on Google Classroom. So I have a doc and an assignment for you. You can just fill in your journal response right there and then turn it in when you've finished. So you will complete a journal write, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Also today, you're going to show me your vocab exercises, and we'll talk about how I would like you to do that. And then because we can't take a vocab quiz while we're away, or at least I'm not ready to give you an online quiz just yet. If this goes longer than a couple weeks, we might have to figure that out. But for the time being, what I'll do in place of a vocab quiz is just have you guys generate some additional sentences for me. So you will write 2 sentences for each vocab word in our unit, and that will be due tomorrow. So let's take one step at a time. Talking about the journal write, I do have a document posted on Google Classroom for you to look at. I'm going to pull that up now. This is the journal write for Monday. And let me explain where the journal write comes from, what the topic is about, and what I'd like you to think of. So today's journal write topic asks the following. Do you think that a school should have the right to limit a student's freedom of speech? If a student makes a politically or religiously controversial statement, is it the school's prerogative, is it their right to prohibit that type of speech, or should the student be allowed to express his or her opinions? And you can just type your response down below. To give you a little bit of context for why I came up with this topic, this goes back a couple years, and a number of years ago, I remember reading an article in Time magazine that referenced not just freedom of speech in terms of what things people say in terms of, their day-to-day conversation with classmates or teachers, but the messages that they wear on their clothing. So as an example, this article referenced 2 different students from 2 different schools in 2 different states and from 2 different extremes in terms of the political spectrum. So here's example 1. There was a student who was a junior in high school. She was openly gay. She was a lesbian. And the school took issue with some of the clothes she was wearing. Not because it was in violation of dress code, it wasn't too revealing or anything like that. They took objection to the messages of her clothing. And in the article, it cited that the school objected to 2 t-shirts in particular. She had one t-shirt which said, "I love lesbians," which the school felt was controversial, and another one which said, "Barbie is a lesbian." And the school told her she was not allowed to wear these messages to school, that it was a violation, I guess not even that it was a violation of dress code, but that it was a controversial statement and students might object to it. Well, she sued her school district and won the right to wear those shirts and express her sexuality or her sexual identity in school. On the other end of the spectrum, the other example cited in the magazine was a student who was a sophomore, a male student, who wore a shirt, basically, I forget the exact wording, but the message was basically, "Abortion is murder," or "Abortion is a sin." And the school told him like the prior example, this was a controversial statement. He wasn't allowed to wear that shirt in school. And like the previous example, he also took his school district to court and won. And so you can see on either end of the political sphere, whether you're expressing a idea which some would consider very liberal or an idea which others would consider very conservative, sometimes schools have tried to limit these messages or these opinions, and the schools in both cases have been told that they didn't have that right. So my question for you is, should a school be able to do that? Should a school be able to police what a student says or the message that a student expresses, even through clothing, in the school setting? Think about in terms of religion, in terms of politics. I mean, most schools have in place a policy which says you can't advocate violence or drugs or alcohol use on your t-shirts. You couldn't wear a Budweiser shirt to school or a picture of someone with guns. But should it go beyond that? Should the school have the right, if you wanted to wear a shirt that said, Trump is not my president, or Make America Great Again, Trump 2020, should a student have that right to express a political position which other students might object to? Should someone have the right to wear a shirt that says, Jesus is Lord, or Allah is the only true God? Is there a point where the message that a student tries to express through clothing or through speech becomes a distraction or becomes a controversy to the point that it disrupts learning? That's the journal, and that's the topic I'd like you to consider for today. So take about 5 minutes, just like it was a regular journal right when we were in school, and respond to that idea in about 5 minutes. And then when you're done, 2 other things that I would like you to do. First up, vocab 13 exercises are due today. I need to be able to check them. So what I'd like you to do is please show me that you've done them. And you can do that in one of 2 ways. If you would like, if it's easy, you can type your answers to the, typing your definition for the topics and your answers to the various exercise questions directly in this document, which is posted on Google Classroom, and you can turn it in there as an assignment. Now, I'm guessing many of you might have already done the exercises for today on paper. You filled in the packet that I've already given you. If you don't want to retype your answers, and I get that, another option would be if you can take a picture of the document, or a picture of the packet that you've completed, or scan it as a PDF and upload it to the Google Classroom assignment, that would be sufficient. I'm going to pull up Google Classroom just for a moment. I know that you may not be in period 1, but I'm just using the period 1 class as an example. If you go to the vocab section of our Google Classroom, vocab documents, you'll see vocab exercises here. You can either turn in your exercises typed up, as some people in first period have already done, I see, or you can attach as a JPEG or as a picture or a PDF, a scanned version of your your handwritten exercises, whichever is easiest. And then the last thing that I'm going to ask you to do today, since we can't do a vocab quiz for the next couple weeks while we're out, I'm asking that you instead create some sentences for me. So I'm going to ask you to write 20 sentences, 2 sentences for each vocab word. And I've created a document. Once again, this is on Google Classroom, and you can just write 2 sentences for each of the vocab words. I am asking as much as possible, and this is really on your honor as honored students, I'm asking that you not go to Google. I'm sure if you went to Google and said, give me a sentence for a bridge, Google will spit something back to you. Or if you went to dictionary.com or a lot of online sites, you could probably look this up. As much as possible, I'm asking you to go from your own brain power. Please just look at the definition of the word abridge or character or whatever it might be, and write 2 original sentences using that word properly. You don't need to underline it or boldface it or anything. Just write the sentence. Please make sure you use the word. And just like we were taking a vocab quiz, please give enough context in the sentence so that it's clear you know what the word means and the word could be figured out even if the reader didn't previously know the definition of that word. So all these activities, the journal write, the vocab exercises, and the vocab sentences should be turned in by the beginning of the day on Tuesday. So by 8 a.m. Tuesday, I should be able to go in and see that you've got all of this stuff. If you have not already done so, you can also go to the classroom page and look at the revised calendar, and I'll show you that quickly. If I can find where I put it. Should be under, here we go, monthly calendars. I've done a revised March calendar, and I put it up there as a PDF. And let's see if I can zoom in here. Here we go. So you can look at the calendar at your leisure. Basically, over the next 2 weeks, I'd like you to keep up with Jane Eyre reading. We're not going to be able to take a quiz tomorrow because of, again, the fact that we're at home and I'm not able to verify that. But I will give you tomorrow the final notes on literary theory. And then on Wednesday and Thursday, I'm going to ask you guys to do 2 literary theory activities for Jane Eyre, chapters 1 through 9. So please make sure that you have read those chapters and you're ready to talk about them. And then throughout the week, you should be reading up through chapter 16, because next week I am going to give you a take-home test, and I'm going to ask that you're able to discuss up through chapter 16 by next week. So please keep up with the reading this week. Make sure that in addition to the day-to-day activities that I have you do, things like no red ink tomorrow, or rather on Wednesday, there's no red ink tomorrow as well. Or article of the week, I'm going to give you guys an article to read on Friday. In addition to all those things, please be sure that you are also keeping up with the reading and that you're on pace and ready to go for next week to talk about chapters 1 through 16 for the take-home test. All right, this is probably the longest video that we're going to see this week just because we had a lot to discuss. Remember that my office hours each day will be from 12 until 2. So if you would like to chime in or ask me a question today or any day this week or next, please look to Google Classroom and you'll see at around noon on each day, I will use the Google question that we've used before for Socratic Seminar. I'll use that tool in order to start a class discussion. So I will post every day at noon. Here I am. This is my office hour time. If you have any questions or comments, either about the exercises or anything regarding classwork, you're able to chime in. Please know you don't have to chime in. If you're doing well and you understand everything and you don't have any questions, there's no requirement to touch base during that office hours. But if you do have questions or things you want to get clarification on, please feel free to respond to my initial post. And just like when we do Socratic Seminar and you can see all of your classmates' commentary, you should be able to see what I've said and whatever your classmates respond to my initial post. So it's useful in that if somebody else is asking a question that relates to what you're going through and questions you might have about the material, then it saves you the asking of it. Or if you need further clarification or want to build on what somebody else said, you're welcome to respond to their comment as well as my comments. All right, like I said, it's a long video today. I'm sorry. Please make sure that you're checking in as needed, that you ask questions if you have concerns. Please don't suffer in silence. This is going to be a learning curve for all of us, for me, for you, for everybody. So if you need any help to make the next couple weeks go as smoothly as possible, please either check in during office hours, or if you're not able to do so then, email me with any questions that you have. All right, guys, happy Monday. Good luck to you, and I will check in with you tomorrow.